So let's come to a nice comfortable seat on the mat, and you could sit up on something if you need. Otherwise, we're just going to start closing the eyes, settling in. Take a couple deep breaths in and out, just to move away from whatever the day has brought for you, and to step inside your body, your breath, and your practice. And just connecting in with an intention for your practice today. That could be to just show up for yourself. It could be to connect with your breath more. It could be to give yourself grace. Whatever it is that's drawing you onto your mat today, just set a little intention. And then let's bring the hands like a little prayer at the heart, settling that intention in to begin our practice. We'll take a slow, deep breath in. And then as you exhale, just allow your head to bow toward your heart. And then we're going to release the hands down into the lap. We're going to begin the practice on the back. So come around so that you're lying flat on your back. And as you get down onto your back, we're going to work by rotating the belly in toward the floor so that you're tilting your pelvis up. And then as you inhale, go the opposite direction, arching the back a little bit. And then as you exhale, use that breath to engage the abs to drop the back into the ground. And then inhale to come back. Exhaling, flattening, engaging the core a bit. And inhaling and rotating. Lifting through the low back. One last time, exhale, engaging the core to press fully down through the lower back. Let the tailbone rise a little. And then as you inhale, tailbone presses toward the earth as you let the back arch. And then just come to neutral. Extend the legs out so that they're nice and long. Keep that engagement through the core. And we're just going to alternate and lift the legs. So you'll take a breath in to prepare. And as you exhale, lift the right leg. And then as you inhale, come to straight. And as you do this, exhaling to lift left, keeping the hips level and neutral, just moving the leg at the hip joint. Exhale, right leg lifts. Inhale to straighten. Left side as you exhale, lift, keeping the hips level. Inhale to straighten. One last time each side. Exhale for the right. Inhale to straighten. And exhale for the left. And inhale to straighten. Great. And then let your body relax for a moment. Let the activity and the engagement relax. And then re-engage, draw the belly in, start to walk the feet in, and then you're going to roll over to one side and come up into a tabletop pose. So you'll be up on your hands and knees. Your shoulders will be stacked over or just slightly behind your wrists, your hips over your knees. And then the same thing we were just doing, but we're doing that with a little gravity on now. So you're going to inhale, tailbone curls up, press the chest through, slightly gaze forward. And then as you exhale, tuck the tailbone under, pull belly back, and look back towards your knees. And then again, inhale, tailbone curls up, chest reaches forward, gaze slightly forward. And exhale, tailbone tucks, belly rolls in and lifts, and the forehead looks back toward the knees. One last time, inhale, curling up, look forward. Exhale, use the belly to draw in and lift the lower back, and dropping the head down to take the gaze back. And then inhale to neutral. And we're going to bring the knees just a little bit closer. Tuck the right toes under behind you, and then press back through that heel. Stretching out the calf really nicely. And if we want to activate the core just a little bit, you can hover the left knee up off of the ground. That activates the core. Keep that activation as you set the knee down. And then with your next inhale, let the right leg rise up. So if you're dropping through the low belly, lift up. Keep that engagement in the core. And then from there, option to stay as you are or take the left arm forward and come into a balancing tabletop, keeping that core nice and steady to support the growth of the arm and leg. And take another breath in. And then as you exhale, let's return back into tabletop pose. Good. And then we'll tuck the left toes under, Press through the hands a little bit to get stretched out through the back of the calf. Couple breaths in and out here. And then we're going to inhale and try to draw that right knee up, engaging the core. Keep that engaged. Drop the right knee down, and then as you inhale next, lift the left leg up. Again, notice if you drop through the low belly, keep that strongly engaged. And then option to stay as you are, or if you want a little challenge, take the right arm forward, come into that balance, keeping the core steady and growing out from that point. Take a nice breath in there. And then as you exhale, return to tabletop. From tabletop, we're going to widen the knees, sit the hips back onto the heels, and then let the chest come toward the ground, walking the hands forward, coming into child's pose for a moment of rest. Let the breath flow steady. And from child's pose, let's return to tabletop, inhaling to come up, bringing the knees back underneath the hips. This time we're going to tuck the toes under, and as you exhale, lift your hips up so you come into a downward facing dog. And in downward dog, feel free to pedal around on your heels a little just to keep loosening up the calf muscles. And then just come to a point where you're nice and stable. It's fine to have a little bend in the knees. We want a long, straight spine, lifting the hips up toward the sky. And then as you exhale, we're going to bend the knees and look toward the hands. And as you inhale, start to walk toward the front of your mat. You can keep a soft bend in the knees so that you get really tight at the torso and the thighs, and come down to fold over the legs. Let the head dangle off the top of the spine. Maybe a little nod, yes or no. And with that bend in the knees, press down into the earth, and as you inhale, slowly roll yourself to a standing position. As you get up there, let the shoulders lift toward the ears, and then let them roll down and relax the upper neck, the upper back, standing tall in Tadasana. And we're just going to roll through a few sun salutes. So as you inhale, take the arms up and overhead. And then as you exhale, we're going to dive over the legs. Again, that bend in the knees helps you get the torso down onto the thighs. And as you inhale, we can straighten the legs here. Slide the hands up toward the knees, lengthen the spine parallel to the floor. And then exhale, we're going to plant the hands and step back into plank pose. Take an inhale in plank pose, and then as you exhale, we'll drop the knees, elbows point straight back, let the chest come forward and down. And then arm bones back as you inhale, curl and look slightly forward. And then as you exhale, we're going to come down, press the hands and knees into the floor to come back up into that plank, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Hold this downward dog. Take a breath in or two. When next you exhale, we'll bend the knees and look forward. And as you inhale, coming forward toward the front of your mat, let's halfway lift, bringing that spine long and parallel. And then as you exhale, a bend in the knees so the torso can come toward the thighs. Drop the head. Inhale, rise up, reach the arms up. And then as you exhale, hands are going to come to the heart. Take a moment to pause and breathe there. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then with your next inhalation, let the arms lift. And as you exhale, fold at the knees, hinge and fold forward right at the hip joint. Inhale, halfway lift, straighten the knees, lengthen the spine, shoulders slightly back. And then as you exhale, hands down, feet back, plank pose. Take a breath in plank. And as you exhale, bend the knees, chest comes down and slightly forward. And then inhale, arm bones back, chest up. And then as you exhale, pressing up into that tabletop and back to downward facing dog. Another slow, deep breath in and a slow, deep breath out. Bend your knees and look forward. And as you inhale, come to the front of your mat. Lift halfway, lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, a bend in the knees to fold over the legs. Press into the feet. Inhale, rise and reach up. And then as you exhale, pull the hands into the heart. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then press through your feet. And as you inhale, one last time with Sun Salute. Arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge at the waist. Bend the knees a little so the torso and the thighs come together. Halfway lift as you inhale. Shoulders back, spine long. And then as you exhale, let's plant the hands once more back into plank, top of your push-up. Take a breath in there to be nice and sturdy. And then as you exhale, knees down, elbows back, chest slightly comes through the arms, and then inhale, curl up. As you exhale, strong core contraction to press up and back to downward facing dog. And take a deep breath in and out here. As you exhale, we'll bend the knees and look at the hands. Inhale to walk forward, halfway lift your spine. And then as you exhale, bend the knees a little so that you can fold deeply into the legs. Press the feet into the earth. Inhale, rise up, reach to the sky. And then as you exhale, hands come down to the heart. Take a nice full breath in and out here. So with the left leg, we're going to take a big step back. We're going to continue to face the front of the mat. All 10 toes are kind of turning toward the forward. The left toe turns out a little. Hips swing forward. Lift through the chest. Broaden through the collarbones. And as you inhale, take the arms up so you're in a warrior one position. Stay here. Deepen the breath. Reaching back through the left thigh, back through the left heel, really keeping that back leg very strong. And take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, we'll take the arms down, step the left foot forward to meet the right and pause. And to balance, we'll take the right foot back, reach far back so that your front knee is over the ankle, hips are spinning forward, reach back through the right thigh, broaden and lift through the collarbones. And then as you inhale, arms rise. Keep that back leg strong to help support the balance, lifting out of the core, but relaxing a little bit through the extra stress of the upper back. So we're not pulling the shoulders down, we're just relaxing as we reach up through the core. Take another breath in there. And then as you exhale, the hands are going to come down. With your right foot, you'll step forward, back into Tadasana. Pause for a moment. And then again with the left foot, we're going to take a big step out to the left. This time we're going to open the body toward the side of the mat. And from here, opening the body toward the side of the mat, right knee swings open, belly draws in, chest lifts up, collarbones broaden. As you inhale, take the arms out to a T, trying to find that place where your shoulders are over your hips so you're not leaning forward, you're not going too far back. Straight over the center, lifting up through the core, and then take your gaze to the right over your fingertips and breathe. And we're going to combine a few poses here. So as you inhale, we're going to straighten that right leg, reach way out. Left hand's going to come to the hip, and then the right hand comes down to the shin. Press the hand into the shin into the hand. So both things are working. Roll the collarbone open, tuck the tailbone down so the core is strong, and maybe stretch your left arm up toward the sky. Imagine the legs are pressing apart from you so the legs are strong and supporting you. And as you inhale, come all the way up, arms to a T. Turn the right toes in and then the left toes out. And we're gonna redo the body here. So the right toes turn in, left toes turn out. Again, big breath to lift up out of the core, and then bend the left knee. So your knee is bending to take you down, not the energy and action of the core releasing. So up you go. Broaden the collarbones, out through the legs, and then out through the arms. Look over your left fingers, Breathe deeply. And again, we're going to combine a few poses here. So we're going to inhale, straighten the front leg. As you exhale, reach way out, right hand on the hip, left hand on the shin. Hand presses into the shin, shin presses back. Roll the torso open, tuck the tailbone down so the core is engaging. And then as you inhale, arms wide. Maybe look up to that right hand, maybe look down to the floor at the toe. Breathe deeply wherever you are. And then we're going to take an inhale, rise up, arms to a T. As you exhale, release the arms, turn both sets of toes to the long edge of your mat now. Catch your hips. Take a full deep breath in. Again, lift way up out of the core. And then as you exhale, right at the hips, we're going to fold forward, come parallel to the floor. Maybe you need blocks to bring the floor to you. Maybe you can bring your fingertips on the floor. What answers the maybe? If your spine is long, instead of rounding up, you're good to touch the floor. If it's rounding up, bring yourself some blocks. Take a breath in. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can hinge deeper at the hips, folding forward. But again, this whole time, the spine is really long. And breathe deeply. And then we're going to inhale and come up to that halfway point, whether you're on blocks or on the floor, long spine. As you exhale, press the feet like you're trying to slide the legs wider so the legs are active. Then you can catch your hips. Press down into the feet. Inhale to rise up to stand. And then as you exhale, we're going to bring the feet together and pause in standing for a moment. You can feel all the feels in your body. Great. And then from here, we're going to turn back to the front of the mat and press into the feet. As you inhale, let's take the arms up. And then as you exhale, we're going to hinge at the hips, a little bend in the knees so we can bring the torso back to the thighs. Halfway lift as you breathe in. Keep the belly strong to protect the back. And then as you exhale, go ahead and plant the hands and just walk into downward facing dog. So this is going to set us up to move into pigeon. So we're going to bring the left foot in a little closer to the right. So as you inhale, you can take the right foot to the sky. And then as you exhale, we'll bring that right knee toward the right wrist and then start to walk back through the left foot just until you feel some resistance in the right hip. That might be in the inner thigh. It might be in the outer hip. It's where you're tightest. What you don't want is to feel the knee twisting, right? So you shouldn't feel anything in the space of the knee. It's all happening up at the hip or in the hamstrings. So take a breath in here. If you want to get a little deeper into that hip, you can walk the hands back, lift and open, broaden the chest. Don't do that if it hurts your lower back, okay? So we'll take a breath in here. And then as you exhale, we'll take this a little bit toward a resting pigeon. Again, it's all optional. So find that place where you can breathe and be at ease in this pose. So we're going to take a couple breaths in here, just letting that hip open. And if you're down on the elbows, we're going to come back up onto the hands, tuck the toe and come forward just a little bit to take the pressure out of the thigh. And then as you exhale, engage the core and drag yourself back to downward facing dog, pausing there for a breath or two. And then right foot comes closer to the left so we can inhale and take the left leg up. As you exhale, we're going to bring that left knee forward toward the wrist and outside the hip. So the angle is very important. We don't want it going straight forward. We're taking it out toward the edge of the mat. And then start to walk your right foot back just to take yourself into where that tension is in the hip. You can hang out there if you'd like. You can walk back a little bit, broaden the collarbones, lift the chest. Keep yourself lifting up out of the core. Option to stay there, option to stay at the part where we started here, or option to head on down onto the elbows. Wherever you find yourself, let the breath be deep. Notice where there's extra effort or tension in the body, and see if you can let that extra effort go and breathe into that tension to soften. And then if you're down on your elbows, as you inhale, we're gonna come up to the hands, tuck the back toe to come forward just a little bit to take the pressure out of the left hip. And then as you exhale with the core engagement, draw yourself back into downward facing dog. And from downward dog, we're gonna come to our knees and just come around into a seated position. And in that seated position, we're gonna take the legs wide. Wide equals whatever wide equals for you. Okay, so we're gonna take the legs wide. And then from there, press into the legs, legs into the hands, sit up nice and tall. Again, this might be enough. You might be feeling this in your inner hamstrings. You might be feeling like you're working to keep your chest up. So it might be enough. If you can keep the spine long and move forward, just like we were doing in that standing pose, you can start to slide the hands down, broaden through the collarbones, and find your torso taking up space between the legs. So that's only as much as your inner thighs are gonna give you and as the length of your spine is gonna stay there. Again, finding anywhere there's extra effort, right? Over time with practice, we deepen into our body, we deepen into a pose. So there's no need to effort extra to get somewhere your mind wants you to go, but your body's not ready for. And then from there, we're gonna inhale, rise. Hands are gonna come under the knees, lean back a little bit so that you can bring the soles of the feet together. Again, we're gonna sit up nice and tall on the sitting bones, catch the shins. Sit up tall, and as you exhale, let your torso fold into the space between the legs. Now in this pose, instead of pulling with your arms to go in deeper, I want you to go in deeper by thinking about engaging the outer hips and pressing the thighs down and slightly back behind you. So as they press down and slightly back, that creates space in the hip joint to let you come forward and take up that space. So your legs are a little active here as your torso reaches forward. So again, I'm doing all of that movement with my legs, not pulling with the hands at all. I'm going to take a couple breaths in and out here. Good, and then we're going to inhale and come up. Grab hold of the knees, put the feet onto the ground. You're going to lean back a little bit and then just windshield wiper the legs side to side. And then we're gonna put ourselves into a little bit of a core practice here. So again, let's go ahead and turn the feet toward the front of the mat. There's this place right between the tip of the tailbone and the tip of the crack. And there's a really nice balancing point there. So find that balancing point where you're not slouching into your back, but you're not clear up on your sitting bones either. You're right in the middle. It is kind of like at the top of the crack. Hands are gonna catch under the legs, broaden the collarbone, lean back a little so your heels are hovering above the ground. So your hands are helping support your core a little bit here, but we're gonna see if we can lift the shins and feel how that puts a little more tension into the core. Notice how you might wanna drop down into the low back. We're gonna keep lifting up, keep the core active for that. And if you want a little more, we can take the arms and release. Now you're holding yourself all the way in the core and the hip flexors. Try to breathe. And then from here, before we take this into relaxing, we're gonna take the legs, kick them up for a second. And then as you exhale, come down, extend the legs out, move the flesh away from the sitting bones for a moment, and then sit up tall, maybe catch behind the legs to help. And then as you exhale, bow just slightly forward and pause there. So trying to keep the spine nice and long still. If you're doing this, you're trying to get somewhere that your body's not ready for yet. So lift yourself out of that and keep offering your center chest, your heart forward rather than curling it back into you. Great, and then we're gonna inhale, come up. We're going to cross the legs, roll over the legs so that you can come into a place on your belly. So let's just come into tabletop. Tuck the toes as you exhale, lift a plank. Take a breath in there, and then as you exhale, we'll take the knees down, take the chest down, and pause on the belly here. We can stack the hands up, let the forehead rest on the hands. So I like to call this next sequence the Sphinx roll up. And the way that works is coming up onto the forearms. This is the starting point of Sphinx. Palms down. You're going to press yourself up out of the shoulders and press the arms apart to broaden the chest, and then pull the floor towards you to lift and curl the chest up, all the while reaching back through the toes. Again, if this is too much pressure on your lower back, scoot your elbows slightly forward and take it from a lower place so that you're not too much into the arch of your lower back. So it's really based on where you are. It shouldn't create pain, just a little activation and energy. And then we're gonna go the opposite of this. This is the hard part. You're gonna press down into your hands. Imagine still that you're trying to pull those back towards you, but at the same time, press into your knees. Imagine you're trying to pull those toward your core or toward your elbows, and that will activate your core and draw you up. You'll probably feel yourself quivering a little bit in the core, and that's fine. Take a breath in there. As you exhale, slowly lower yourself down. Arms are gonna come out to the sides. Palms down, forehead down, pause and rest. So in these resting positions, notice where you've got that extra tension when you relax, and see if the next time you do the pose, you cannot invite tension into that space. Activating the core without creating the extra tension, the extra effort. So to set up for the next round, we're going to come back up, forearms on the ground, either shoulders over the elbows or elbows in front of the shoulders, depending on how high you need to be. Press down, draw back, press out through the arms. So it's several actions: down, back, out. All those things are going to activate and get you into that open chest and strong arms. Legs are active, reaching through the toes. Then we're going to press down and pull back through the elbows, press down and pull forward through the knees to curl up into Sphinx roll up. So this is all being done by taking the natural back arch and hunching. So this is like slouching on the couch without a couch, and it doesn't feel quite as comfortable, right? So we're keeping that core engaged. And then as you exhale, we're going to lower down, elbows out to the sides, stack the hands, and come to rest, forehead on the hands. Relax all the extra effort. Let the breath slow. And then from here, we're going to come up. We're going to go ahead and roll over onto the back. And as you come onto the back, let's go ahead and put the feet onto the floor. From here, we're going to take the right knee, draw the knee in toward the chest, and then stretch the left leg out along the floor. And then we'll take the right arm out to the side so it comes into a T, palm up, left hand onto the knee, and then guide the knee across the body only as much as you can keep your right shoulder on the ground. And what you're going to feel is a little bit of a stretch through this outer edge of the hip and a slight twist through the torso. But this allows the sacroiliac joint to stay nice and harmonized so that you're not creating dysfunction or pain in the lower lumbar. So it's not the deepest twist you'll ever do, but it does get the job done without creating any bad side effects. And then from there, we're going to come back. Right foot comes on the ground, left foot comes in to join it. Pause, level out your hips a little bit. And then from there, we'll bring the left knee in, squeezing the knee in toward the chest. You can stay here, or option to extend the leg out, depends on you and how you are today. And then from here, we're going to take the left arm out to the side, guide the the left arm out to the side, guide the left leg with the right arm across the body. Again, only as far as you can keep that left shoulder down. Breathe. And then slowly make your way back to center, bringing the left foot onto the ground, the right to join it. Pause. And then as you exhale, just like we started, you're going to press the low back into the ground, activate the core. As you inhale, just gradually come back to neutral so we're not arching. As you exhale, press the core into the ground. As you inhale, just release so you come to your neutral arch. And one more time, exhale, core engages, press the low back into the floor. Inhale, come back to your neutral arch and relax. And then from here, setting up for our relaxation pose, so just stretching the legs out long onto the floor. You can wiggle the hips around or add any supporting props under the knees, under the spine, under the head that you might need. You can relax with the hands on the hips, at the ribs, or stretched out onto the floor, palms up. Adjust your shoulders, your back as you need. And then we're just going to rest here, coming into a little bit of a breathing practice before we fully let go. So we're going to breathe 4 breaths in, a 6-breath count to hold, 8 breaths out, and then a 2 count to hold out. So as you breathe in, you want to make sure to fill up in those 4 seconds so that you can hold for 6, and then release for 8, and then hold for 2. So here we go. All the breath out. And now inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go slow as you exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause with the breath out for 1, 2. Long breath in to fill up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Long, slow breath out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out for 1, 2. Big breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that breath fully for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow breath out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath out for 1, 2. One last time. Big breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow breath out. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the breath stay there for 1, 2, And now just return to normal, easy breathing. Let the extra effort and tension melt away from the body. The extra effort and tension melt away from the breath. Let the head feel heavy. Let the shoulders feel heavy. Letting the arms from the shoulders to the elbows to the back of the hands surrender into a quiet ease to the earth. Feeling the upper back, the middle back, the lower back, all relax. The hips heavy, holding you anchored and centered. And from the hip joint, the back of the legs, the back of the knees, the back of the calves, the heels, resting into the earth. Letting the breath deepen in an easy space. Letting the body relax. Noticing any distractions that come your way in sound or voice or thought. And just let them rise and float into your awareness and release and float away from your awareness. And for just a little bit longer, resting here in silence. And as it's time, I'll start to call you back to finish the practice. Allowing your body to awaken, stretching out through the fingers, wiggling them around, stretching out through the toes and wiggling them around. A little more movement up the legs, the arms, through the hips and spine. And then stretch your arms so that they reach above your head. Bring your feet a little closer together and stretch your toes away from your arms. Big, long stretch through the body. And then start to walk your feet in and roll over to the side. And pressing the floor away so that as you inhale, you can come up into a seat. And from your seat, finding a place that's comfortable. Letting the hands rest cupped at the belly or palms down or up on the knees. Feeling free to sit up on a blanket, a pillow, whatever allows you to sit up tall without effort. Feel the breath flow in the body, slowly in and slowly out. Take a moment to call to mind again the intention that you set for practice. And whether you forgot about it all practice long or whether you applied it as you practiced, doesn't really matter. But just recall that intention. If it was for grace and movement, if it was for patience with yourself, whatever it was, recall that intention and see if we can expand that off the mat and into life. Allowing that grace in the heart, that patience in mind, whatever it was, to infuse your day so that as you leave the mat, you apply that to yourself, but the world as well around you. And then to seal in your practice, we'll bring the hands like a prayer to the heart. Take a full deep breath in. And as you exhale, just bow your head toward your hands. A moment of gratitude for this time to practice. Namaste.